cashing 68% of his tickets since 2001 with his famed Teddy Covers NFL Win Totals report, a 20-year track record of success. In addition, Teddy is 15-3, 83% winners with his 5% big ticket plays, cashing with the Chicago Bears under last season as his 5% big ticket best bet. This package includes each NFL season over-under bet with the type of detailed analysis you expect from Teddy, primed to pay dividends all season long. Get on board for the low price of $199, or better yet, the support is 100% free for Teddy's full season football combo or NFL seasonal subscribers. Documented over 55% over the last 7 full seasons, counting every play, every day. Get on board with this proven profit producer and cash in.
Welcome in to the NFL Opening Line Report off-season style. It is June 20th, Monday. The stock market is closed for Juneteenth, but we're still going strong. I am Drew Martin, joined by Teddy Covers. We're keeping you updated on the NFL betting markets. And without further ado, my co-host here, Teddy Covers. Teddy, welcome in. How you feeling today, buddy?
I'm pumped, man. You know, this is the last show we do before part 1 of the Win Report comes out on Friday. So we're deep into the NFL right now. The brain is trying to put all the information into the correct slots and make sure that we're, crossing the T's and dotting the I's. But we're pretty close. Obviously, the Win Report comes out Friday, 11 o'clock Pacific time, 2 p.m. Eastern, and the lines are going to move right off the top. That's the advantage. I guess one of the benefits and one of the drawbacks of having the long-term track record was at 94-44 now, 15-3 with the big ticket. That's a lifetime over the last 20 years. So the lines do move right off the bat. So if you want to get on board with this report, get it now, and then you'll be locked in on Friday when part 1 of the season win total report comes out for the NFL.
Guys, just a little update here on what we're doing. We're doing market risers and fallers. Which teams the sharp early money is on in the betting markets for this upcoming NFL season. We got split market teams with real line variance on, and thoughts on teams with new head coaches plus the power ratings. So, Teddy, should we go in order here? Market risers and fallers? Or did you want to kind of start with a different topic at the top?
Sure. Market risers and fallers makes a ton of sense to me. And I'll tell you what. There's one team that stands out that the betting markets love so far. We've seen money on their win total over. We've seen money on their odds to win the division. We've seen money on their odds to win the playoffs. We've seen money on their odds to win the Super Bowl. And it ain't the team you're thinking of, Drew. I'll give you 10 guesses, and you still might not get it.
Okay, then I'll take your word for it. I don't want to look too stupid right at the top.
That team is the Detroit Lions.
Really?
The Lions are the single hottest team right now in the betting markets. We've seen money for the Lions win total over. We've seen money for the Lions to win the division. We've seen money for the Lions to make the playoffs, and not a lot of money, but we've seen some money for Detroit to win the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl money is coming because if you're going to bet the Lions in every game, you're going to bet their win total over. You're going to bet them to win the playoffs. If the Super Bowl odds are way out of whack, it's not like the bettors are really expecting Detroit to win the Super Bowl this year. But the Detroit Lions are the team, without a doubt. You're talking about the one hot wise guy team in the market. The Lions are there. The New Orleans Saints are another hot team in the betting markets this offseason. The Saints are a team that the wise guys are paying a whole lot of attention to. They're not looking at Drew Brees retiring as being a downgrade for New Orleans. They're looking at Jameis Winston coming in and being healthy and being an upgrade for New Orleans. Now, there are some concerns, obviously, with a new coach for the Saints, but the Saints are a second team, like the Lions, that have been very, very hot in early betting activity. A third team is Minnesota. Minnesota's a squad. Again, we're talking out of the same division, the NFC North. There's no respect for Chicago in this division. And there are a lot of questions, more questions than we've seen in recent years, perhaps, or certainly than last year, for Green Bay, a team that has real question marks about what their wide receiving core is going to look like, and whether they're going to be able to match the performance they've had the last couple of years, where they won back-to-back division titles. The love for Green Bay in the markets isn't quite there as much this year. Hence, some Minnesota love coming now. We've seen money on the Vikings to go over their win total to win the division, et cetera, et cetera. But New Orleans is hot. Minnesota is hot. Detroit is definitely hot, but of course they're a team that was flying to 6 wins heading in. So it's not like the markets are expecting miracles from the Detroit Lions, but a wild card appearance, a division title, stranger things have happened. Detroit, certainly a team that's taken some early money.
Sure. So a 7-10, I guess, would land it toward the over if you're looking to bet the Detroit Lions, and it sounds like that's where the market is going, Teddy. Just looking here quickly at some of the news topic. I mean, what do you think's behind that in the Lions? Is it Jared Goff is not as bad as maybe the early market thought? Are we thinking with Dan Campbell here? I'm seeing coaching hires have been at least smart, according to the author that Google's pointing me to here. What are your thoughts on why the Lions are taking so much kind of sharp money?
There's lack of respect for the division. The Lions do not have a tough schedule. And from a roster building standpoint, between the start of the Dan Campbell era last year and where the Lions are today, night and day different. The building blocks are in place for Detroit. Now, when it comes to a passing game, it's definitely a question mark for the Lions. There's a reason. Again, if they go 7-10, they'll cash your over bet. Goff is a big question mark. The receiving core is a big question mark. And the offensive line, while on paper should be much improved, got to see that on the field first. But nonetheless, a Detroit team that, you look at them 2 years ago, and they look like the Jags, where, there's a hole at every position. This is not a minor rebuild. This is a major rebuild. They're ahead of Jacksonville now in terms of the pecking order, with the exception of the QB position, with the Jags have set for the long term. Detroit doesn't necessarily have that. But in terms of, I had the Lions and Jaguars as the two franchises that had the most issues coming into the 2021 campaign. And Detroit is clearly a deeper team now than they were a year ago. And defensively, they look all right.
Makes total sense, Teddy. What about some split market teams, some line variants here in the market where, hey, maybe sports bettors can go out there, shop around and get one number at a Vegas book, maybe a totally different number in a global book, Teddy? Any teams you got circled here?
Yeah, sure. And this is really, when you talk about why you bet in season wins now, this is at least a piece of the equation. All right.
Yeah.
Let's talk about a team like the Dallas Cowboys. All right. You want to bet Dallas over now? You can find over 10 widely available. You want to bet Dallas under right now? You can find Dallas 10.5 widely available. Those won't be there a month from now. The markets will say it's a 10 or a 10.5. But right now, you can find those half game differences that aren't fully priced in to the juice you're going to lay. We talk about 50 cents, approximately 40. It's really about 45 cents in the middle of the pack from a 8.5 minus 105 versus 8 minus 150 to the over, for example. So when you find these variances that aren't priced 45 or 50 cents between the two, because the markets are split, there are legitimate bargains in the marketplace right now. And the two teams that stand out in that regard, Dallas, the Cowboys, and the other team, another team from their division, the Washington Commanders, who are also a split line team. We're seeing Washington, you can find them at 7.5. You can find them at 8. So depending on which way you want to bet the Commanders and or the Cowboys, right now you can find those split lines and take advantage of them that won't be there. So Washington and Dallas, two teams that absolutely stand out in that regard right now, where you can find two different numbers and bet the one you like better for the wager that you're making.
Sure. Betting good numbers, guys, huge part of this business. And to Teddy's point, kind of a big part of the equation and why to bet it now in the NFL season win total market. Moving down the list here, Teddy, we got thoughts on teams with new head coaches, maybe new assistant coaches. What are you thinking here, Teddy, to get an advantage on the betting marketplace?
Sure. So what I want to do is split the new coaches into two categories. All right.
Let's do it.
You have your rebuild coaches and your guys that are supposed to come in and have some success right away. And your rebuild coaches in the first year, when you're thinking about the thought process, this is a coach that's going to have some time, in theory, to put something together. Look at the Bears, Matt Eberflus. It's a head coach where there's no urgency to win this year for Chicago. The teams with the first year head coaches, you don't expect the late season complete collapses. It happens sometimes, but I'm definitely more likely to look for a team that's going to quit down the stretch with a head coach that's been there for 3 or 4 years and now is on the hot seat and now is going to be gone by December, and that team ain't bringing it. Whereas a team with the first-year head coaches, you give them a little bit more leeway when it comes to improvement down the stretch. And certainly when you look at that December schedule, the last 5 or 6 games, if a first-year head coach is facing some weaker opponents down the stretch, maybe that's not a team you want to fade. Maybe that's not a team you want to bet under. And obviously we've got Lovie Smith in that category for Houston. We've got Eberflus for the Bears. You have Peterson in Jacksonville in that regard. The Giants with Brian DeBall certainly stand out in that regard. So some of those teams that you can make a case for betting them unders with those first-year head coaches, I'm much more inclined to bet veteran head coaches under, because I know the veterans on that team, they start 1-8, are going to check out down the stretch, whereas the veterans on the team with the coach who is in a different spot, you're not going to see that same type of checking out over the back half of the campaign. Now we look at the other end of the equation, the coaches that are coming into decent situations. Think of Matt LaFleur a couple of years ago, it happens all the time in the NFL where a team hasn't been able to get over the hump. Minnesota right now is a team that stands out in that regard. Denver with Nate Hackett as the head coach, a team there where the guy's supposed to come in and win right away. And with those type of new head coaches, you want a different thought process, because if things don't go right by December, this is a disappointing campaign. So I worry a lot more about the coaches that have to step up, the coaches that are expected to do good this year, that are walking into not a rebuild situation, but a win now situation. And their schedule is tough down the stretch. Those aren't necessarily the teams I'm looking to bet over their season win total.
I like that. Great analysis there, Teddy, in terms of the different situations to bet on, maybe look to fade. Guys, reminder here, we get NFL season win total report from Teddy Covers coming out this week. Check him out, WagerTalk.com, his experts page, sports memo as well. He's got the NFL season wins here, the record 94-44. That's 68% the last 20 years. You don't see many records like that in this industry. 20 years, 2 decades, 94-44, 68% winning percentage, 15-3, by the way. That's 83% on the 5% big tickets. Of course, that's going to be his best. Teddy, actually, I don't want to step ahead of myself. Do you have one circled for a 5%, or maybe, because I'm seeing 15-3, that's only going back 18 years and going back 20 years. I'm guessing 2 of the years you didn't have a 5%. Do you have a circled one and crazy happens in the next couple of days?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, there have been a couple of years where I didn't. I think there were 3 years where we didn't have a 5%. There was 1 year that I had 2. So it hasn't. Okay. It's not always just one per year. There is definitely one team that I have circled as a 5%. I have another one that has intrigued me. So we'll see how it plays out between now and Friday. But I expect at least 5% on this report. I'll just leave it at that. So, awesome. And that record, as you mentioned, it's been, they've been good. The 5% plays have been real good long term. And this isn't, as you mentioned, something that's just, the short-term track record's good. The long-term track record's good. That's what you want. This isn't some record that I built up 20 years, with stuff that happened 10 years ago, and it's sucking ever since. It's been good in recent years, much like it was good in the aughts. So, and the other beauty of this report is it's not just about the season wins. I give you a good analysis with, I give you detailed analysis on these teams. And realistically, if you read the write-up for the report, you're going to have opportunities to bet on and against these teams all season long. So it's not just the season win wager. It's the information that comes along with the bet recommendations. And that's, for me at least, a big piece of the puzzle.
Check it out, guys. It's also $9 Monday if you're watching on Monday, watching live. Appreciate everybody joining us in the chat box. We'll feel free to fire out any questions, guys. We'll have some time at the end and answer as many as we can. But huge shout out to Keith, Rance, Southpaw in the house, all you guys. Thanks for joining us live here on the WagerTalk YouTube channel, Coin as well. Keith Landry, please smash that like button if you're liking the content, and feel free to reply below if you're watching on replay. Any questions you have that maybe we didn't go in depth enough on today's show. Also, what you're looking to bet in the NFL betting markets. Guys, let's move down the list here. Teddy's current power ratings in the NFL. Teddy, what are you thinking here with power ratings? You making any changes over the summer? You want to just kind of recap it real quick?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to run through all 32 teams right here and just give a range. Is my internet okay? Are you guys hearing me? Am I lagging right now? Should I refresh?
Yeah, no, you're good.
Okay,
you're good.
So right now, the Bills are the highest power rated team in the NFL, and they're the highest number in my ratings. Behind Buffalo, you've got the next grouping: Tampa, Kansas City, the LA Rams. Then you're looking at Cincinnati, Green Bay, and the Chargers. Baltimore is probably in that list. There's a little drop off, Buffalo, Tampa, KC, the Rams, Cincy, Green Bay, the Chargers, and the Baltimore. That's the first quadrant of the NFL, the top 8 teams. And really, there is a drop-off after that. The next grouping, you got San Francisco, Tennessee, Philadelphia, Miami, all in that range of the betting marketplace. Dallas is right there. Arizona's right there. Teams that are pretty much league even. And there's 2 teams that really stand out in my mind where nobody has any idea where to power rate them right now. Cleveland and San Francisco. Don't know who's going to be the starting QB for either one of those teams. Don't know how long Deshaun Watson's going to be suspended for. The markets don't really know how to price Garoppolo versus Trey Lance just yet. So everyone's kind of putting those 2 teams like in the question mark category. And of course, when you talk about, we got full season numbers available right now. We got all kinds of things available right now. And yet the markets for Cleveland and San Fran both, and Cleveland in particular, the power rating with Watson behind center versus the backups behind center is a huge difference between for the Browns. That's why you're seeing the Browns off the board in so many different places, because you can't put a number on, or Cleveland. But anyhow, in that middle grouping, you're looking at Indy. Maybe Indy's a little bit higher than that. Cleveland, Las Vegas is in that group. The Raiders, the Patriots, the Saints, the Vikings, the Broncos, all in that mid-tier group. And then you take a step down a little bit, and we're looking at the Steelers, the Lions, and then you get to the bottom quartet where you've got, the Jets, the Giants, the Seahawks, the Commanders, the Jags, the Bears, the Falcons, the Texans, and the Panthers. All, the Bears, Falcons, Texans, and Panthers, the bottom 4 teams in just about everyone's power ratings that I've seen, including my own. So there's the basic, categories and groupings that these are my numbers right now, but my numbers at this stage aren't far off from the betting market numbers. And again, I didn't give you every single number, but in terms of grouping teams together, that's where I've got them grouped, Drew.
I like it, Teddy. I don't necessarily disagree with any of it. I mean, when you were going down the list, some, just groupings is kind of a way to go at it. You bring up San Francisco and like Cleveland as well in terms of where to power rate them. Those were 2 that I was wondering. I mean, what about this San Francisco 49ers quarterback situation? How do you re-rate them depending on who's the starter? Is Jimmy Garoppolo kind of the higher power rated quarterback for the team? Or would it be Trey Lance, kind of the unknown?
Coming in, Garoppolo is going to be the higher. Garoppolo's taking him to the championship game. He's taking him to a Super Bowl. Trey Lance is a rookie last year who looked like he had no idea what he was doing on the field. It will be a power. The markets are going to price Garoppolo higher than Lance. I'll tell you that for a fact. Now, San Francisco is certainly a team to pay some attention to in the preseason, more than the average team perhaps. But on the same hand, Shanahan's not going to show us a whole lot in the preseason either. So I'm looking forward to the market overreacting to what San Fran looks like in August, because they will. The markets consistently overreact to preseason results, especially when it comes to week 2 and week 3. That week 3 regular season walkthrough, the markets overreact to everything they see, even when one team says, "Oh, we're not playing anyone," the other team's like, "We're game planning for this one." The markets will still overreact when the final score is 47-7.
And then the Deshaun Watson situation, have you heard anything new? I mean, are the numbers up? Because I remember when we did the last show, they didn't even have the season win total up.
Yeah, same story now. Where we're seeing the markets,
Okay.
where the Cleveland's off the board for season win totals in a lot of places. They're off the board in all kinds of different ways right now. Yeah, it's really hard to put up a number when there's a touchdown difference between the one quarterback and the other quarterback right now. So I don't blame the books for being very reluctant to hang any numbers involving the Cleveland Browns, because it's not one of these suspensions. We know it's going to start week 1. It should start week 1, but we don't know. There might, and then we don't know if it's going to be 4 games, 8 games, all year, 6 games. It's really hard to predict. And in terms of the rumors, all over the map. Nobody knows.
Well, it's such a sticky situation. I mean, it's like he's being held out for like allegations, but at the same time, if you read really into it and believe it, it's a terrible situation, Teddy. I mean, as a handicapper, do you even dig into this, or do you just say, "Hey, I'm waiting until they tell us, and I'll start, handicapping it at that situation"?
So one of the things as a handicapper that makes me crazy, like, well, people ask me, well, where do you think so and so is going to end up in free agency? Where's Tom Brady going to go? It's like, I don't know any more than you do, dude.
Right.
And when it comes to the 24 hours in my day, okay, what I'm most interested in is stuff that's handicappable. So am I spending a lot of time reading the question marks about what's going on with Cleveland? No, I'm not. When I have legit info, I'll be all over it. But right now, it's kind of a waste of time. Mm-hmm. You can make better uses of your time than trying to handicap stuff that can't handicap. I'm trying to figure out which of these teams are going to be good. And I know the Cleveland Browns are not going to be on my season win report. I know, I can tell you, look, the Browns and the 49ers are not on the report, not on part 1. So those 2 teams, I'm done with them for right now. We'll get back to them, But right now, my focus is on the teams that are on the short list for my report. And that's what we're paying the most attention to. Cleveland and San Fran.
Life is a sports better. Life is a sports better, guys. Concentrate on.
Oh, sorry, you're good. Ahead, but I was just saying that I might bet again. The 49ers are a team that you could see in part 2 of the report. I don't think Cleveland's going to be a team that I'm getting involved with. But San Fran, with Lance, I'm not convinced they're a 10-win team. I'm not convinced they're going to win 11 games. So San Fran could make a part 2 of the report. Cleveland, I'm not going to get there. Sorry, Drew, I cut you off twice.
No, I love it because you're seconding what I think and what I've learned in doing this as my straight job now for 8 years. It's going to be is that, concentrate on what you can handicap here, Teddy. I mean, and it's funny because I sit here, I'm in the middle of MLB, I'm doing USFL as well. So getting ready for this show, guys, I kind of just an hour ago started researching. I'm like NFL news on Google. Sure enough, like the top 7 things are Deshaun Watson situation. So I felt like I had to ask you. It's not like I'm really handicapping it. I just don't feel like I would be doing my job. But I totally agree with what you're saying, Teddy. And I know a lot of people that do this seriously do as well. So moving down the list here, Teddy, status of your short list. You bring up the short list, Cleveland, San Francisco, at least for part 1 not being on it. But hey, I got my pen ready, paper ready. I'm ready to take some notes here. What is your short list?
Oh, no, we're not giving out the short list. We're showing how the short list is getting pared down. This is what it looked like last week at this time. And this week it's a little bit more complicated, but it's been pared down. So we're looking right now. I mean, I probably 2, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, but I'm not playing that one. Yeah, I haven't done actually. God, the short list is, this. I'm right where I'm supposed to be in the process. Is what I guess. I've been doing this for 20 years, and what happens is my short list started with about half the league, and now it's been whittled down. So it's certainly one of those scenarios where I feel good about where I am in the process. I'd love to be. Well, I wouldn't love to be, because this is the week that you actually make the final yes no. But I'm comfortable where I am in the process, and in a comparable spot to where I've been in recent years, even with the earliest release that I've ever done. But you talked about all the news of Deshaun Watson. That's why I'm releasing now, okay? Because nothing's come out. And come July 1st, come the beginning of July, these numbers will start to move. The markets will pay more attention. There will be more NFL news popping out. And as soon as camps open, mid-July, the markets move every day. So I'm really trying to take advantage of this lull and make sure that we're able to get the best of the number, both myself and my clients, for all of these wagers, because the best of the number is not going to be there a month from now.
I like it, Teddy. Guys, feel free to throw out any questions here. We got Q&A before we're going to shut it down. So yeah, any questions for Teddy, for myself, feel free in the chat box. Also, if you're watching on replay, feel free to drop a line below. We will answer it on the next show a little bit later in the summer. We're going towards the end of July. Guys, we'll be going here for the opening line report, and it will be going each and every Monday there forward through preseason onto the regular season. Reminder here, guys, NFL season win total report being released this week. Go grab it, WagerTalk.com, Teddy Covers Experts page. 94 and 44, 68% the last 20 years. Again, guys, not many records in this industry going back 2 decades at 68% win percentage. 15 and 3, 83% win percentage on those 5% big tickets. We talked about it earlier. He's got a one circled, maybe possibly 2 circled, but anyway, guys, up over 80%, 15 and 3 the last 18 on those. So guys, check that out. We got question and answer time. Teddy, we got a bunch of guys in the chat box, some different avenues here. We got Ravens could be okay if their wide receivers step up. That's from Rance here. And Finn's better than the Raiders. Broncos if they could get a wild card. You bring up, teams that are tough. I guess nobody knows what to do with. What about kind of the Raiders and the Dolphins? Those are 2 teams. I wouldn't put them necessarily on the same category as the Niners and the Browns, but right there. I mean, I feel like the variance could be there with the Dolphins and the Raiders. Are those 2 teams that you've kind of honed in on? And how do you feel about the Raiders and the Dolphins going into this year?
So the first thing I'm going to talk about is the Ravens, who are hot in the betting markets right now.
Okay.
They're hot to win the division. They're hot week 1. I'm probably going to, I'm not going to promote here, but I am likely to put up a week 1 play involving Baltimore in the not too distant future, because that line is a one-way line. If you want the Ravens week 1, it's only going one direction. You bet Baltimore right now, and you'll beat the closing number. When it comes to the Dolphins, I like the Dolphins. All right, flat out, I like the Dolphins. I might like the Dolphins a lot. This is a team that came on like a freight train down the stretch last year. It's a team that has all the pieces in place for their young quarterback to succeed. I think Miami, if I'm playing Miami, it'll be over. The Raiders, I have mixed feelings on. The Raiders really have star power. You look at that team and the studs they have. They've got stars to rush the passer. They've got stars to catch the football. I worry about roster depth for the Raiders. And that is such a brutal division. Make no mistake about it. AFC West is as tough as any division in the NFL. When you have all 3 teams that are ahead of you lined as 10-win teams or higher, that's what Vegas is looking at. The Chargers, the Broncos, and the Chiefs all lined as double-digit win teams ahead of them in the standings. That makes me a little bit less excited about Vegas, and the Raiders are, they may well be a team with a lot of star power, but without the juice to really compete for a title in that division. I like Miami more than Vegas out of those 2 teams for sure.
Okay, Teddy, good stuff. And guys, a reminder, if you're doing your power ratings in terms of strength of schedule, do it off of this year's season win total projection by the odds makers, not what they finished in the standings from last year. That's one thing I've learned from you, Teddy.
But you have to put a caveat there, because I've seen people screw this up, and I see mainstream people screw this up. Right? They're like, I'm using the win totals from this year. I'm so smart, but they don't factor in juice. They're like, they're lined 8.5, but it's 8.5 over minus 180. That equates to a 9.2, so it's not an 8.5. It's a 9, so it's you have to factor in the juice when you're using that formula. Otherwise, it'll be spitting out, garbage in, garbage out, your old accounting terms. It'll be garbage in, garbage out. You have to factor in the juice with those win totals. 8.5 minus 150 equals 9. 8.5 minus 180 equals 9.3. 6.5 minus 160 equals 5.9. It's not hard to figure those out, to do the math on them, but you have to do the math correctly or you're going to spit out bad numbers. And you're better off using a no vig line if you could do that. When I go through and track my stuff with the sports books, I'm using a no vig line to check what the real market prices are for these teams. That's a step beyond. Don't worry about the no vig line. Just worry about factoring in the juice when you're adding up the win total.
Teddy, that's well said. And I understand that concept. When you said mainstream, I thought you were the thing is that needs to be said for more than just the NFL season win totals, guys. I'm seeing people out there in this industry be like, oh, I'm 60-38, my last, how many ever MLB plays. And they don't even put what they are up unit wise. I mean, it's becoming a little bit of a joke.
Of course not.
In terms of people not focusing on what the juice is. That's the bet. That's half the equation. You don't know what you're doing without the juice. So that goes without saying. That's not just for the NFL season win total market, guys. That's in general. You want to be looking at the juice at the forefront of the equation. We got a couple guys in here. Mike Campbell, welcome on in, man. Fred as well, Southpaw. We got Coin asking a question. How do you guys feel about regression of Tennessee under 9 wins? Anything on the Titans in Nashville, Teddy? Have you honed in on them?
I don't like Tennessee, and I'm not willing to bet them under 9 because everyone else in that division is worse than they are. I don't love the Titans. I like opposing teams who are facing the AFC South this year, but Tennessee under 9, I'm not betting that. It won't. I don't love the team, don't love the situation. We like Patricia a fair bit, but it's not Patricia. The other Tennessee, the other former Patriot. Why am I spacing on his freaking name? That's embarrassing. That shouldn't be happening, but it also speaks that I'm passing on Tennessee. Vrabel is who I'm thinking of. Yeah, I'm not getting involved with the Titans, most likely with their win total. A division that's too weak to fade and a team that's not good enough to support.
Teddy, this is an interesting question. I think at first I thought he was joking, but actually this could happen. Will there be more overs or unders that cash this year?
So the betting marketplace is tilted towards overs. In general, You will find value with unders in the NFL season wins betting marketplace. When you also, if you add up all the season wins and total, you end up with 200. What is it? You end up with like an extra half win. An extra tenth of a win for every team. If you factor in the juice, they're asking the teams, and that doesn't count any ties. And there'll be a tie or two, like there are most years. So the answer to that question is there will be at the end of the year 17-15 to the under, 18-14 to the under. And certainly one thing we definitely want to remember, AFC teams this year, 9 road games, 8 home games. So the average should be 8.45 wins per team, and the average is close to 8.6 wins per team right now. So that tells us that for the broader markets, there's a little bit of extra value on unders. Is that enough to pull the? Is that your rationale for making a bet? No. But as you're like, I'm on the fence with this team under. Well, they're an AFC team, so they're playing 9 road games. And the markets are giving us an extra little bit of juice working in our favor. That can be the difference between a lean and a bet.
Teddy, I got 2 questions here I'm going to put into one because this is an interesting one that I have a question on as well. Betting win totals seems like a bad idea. A lot of injuries in NFL. That's from Rants in the chat box. Thanks for the question, Rants. And Fred saying NFL is a very efficient market. Tough for yahoos like me to prosper. Hey, I appreciate the honesty there, Fred. And I want to loop both of those questions in together, Teddy, because the NFL is a how do I say this, efficient market. There's a lot of eyeballs on it. It's very close what the closing line says and what the games finish. It's more efficient than college football. It's more efficient than like a new betting sport. It's probably the most efficient market in the sports betting industry. I don't know about international soccer.
Agreed.
Maybe that's there as well, but American bettors, it is the most efficient market. How have you prospered in this with your season win total report? Because a lot of bettors, like myself, we've kind of struggled in the NFL, to tell you the truth, over the last 5-6 years. It's tough for bettors in the NFL to win long term. What do you think you've done that a lot of bettors out there aren't doing?
What about, I'm at, I think 55% in the NFL over the last 7 years. That counts every play, every day. So not overwhelming. You're not going to hit 60% long-term in the NFL. But over a 7-year span, 55% is going to make you plenty of money. I got no shame with that mark. What am I doing? I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel every year or every week. There are concepts that play out over the long term in the NFL. And again, I do have an advantage having been out here. This will be my 25th football season, my 25th football season here in Las Vegas. Experience does matter in this sport because you've seen stuff, you've seen situations. You're like, oh, I remember 6 years ago, I was looking at, you have a memory of an elephant with some of this stuff, with, concepts that work and concepts that don't. So the NFL is not an easy market to crack. But as with any sports betting market, the concept is the same. Little edges over time. Little edges over time produce profits. And that's what you're going to find in the NFL. And if you can grind them out and not fall in love with the team that scored 7 touchdowns last week and looked like they couldn't be beat, the NFL, it's very possible to grind out a profit. There was a part 2 of that question. I think it was actually part 1. What was the part 1 of the question again, Drew?
We got betting win totals seems like a bad idea. A lot of injuries in the NFL.
Yes. Thank you. Yes. So one of the things that I'm always looking to do with my win total report, I pay a ton of attention to depth, quality depth. Why am I not playing the Raiders over 8.5 wins? They got superstars. There's no quality depth on that team. When I'm playing overs, I want teams that can replace impact players. When I'm playing unders, I want teams that can't replace their impact players. We do expect injuries. There is randomness in the NFL. And knowing who's going to get hurt or not going to get hurt, you're not going to know that when you're making a lot of these bets. You could have devastating injuries in August. Little edges over time. This is the best way to beat the NFL markets. Not every bet is going to win, but you can absolutely find positive expectation wagers year in, year out with the win totals. I think my record shows that.
Teddy Covers on Twitter at Teddy_covers. I'm on Twitter at Drew Martin Bets. Feel free to shout out any question, guys, on Twitter, straight direct to us, or here in the reply section on the WagerTalk YouTube channel. Happy to answer them for the next show, scheduled for July 25th. And every Monday moving forward after that, it will be 10 a.m. Pacific time right here on the WagerTalk YouTube channel. We got NFL season win total report, guys, coming out this week. Check it out, wagertalk.com. Experts page, Teddy Covers. He's 94-44, 68% the last 20 years. Yes, guys, going back 2 decades, hitting 68% on this report. 15-3, 83% for the 5% big tickets. He said he has one circled, not locked in yet, but likely to have one there. 15-3 the last 18. Over 80% for the 5%. And guys, it's not only about the record and the winners, it's about the analysis heading into the season. That's what I like to do personally, read the analysis, kind of use it for the week-to-week betting as well. Teddy, it's been a great show so far, man. I know we got another one coming up a little over a month away, and then we'll be ready for the season to go in full blast, full throttle here. But I'll throw it over to you for any other kind of final thoughts for the show before we shut this down.
Yeah, I mean, what happens here for me, this week we're putting it's wall-to-wall NFL for me. I'm not going to sleep a whole lot. It's one of those weeks where you just, you grind it out. And then after Friday, when the report comes out, again, 11 o'clock Pacific time on Friday, we won't do a whole lot of NFL for about a month, about 3 weeks. Post All-Star break, we'll start looking at NFL again right away. And as you mentioned, we'll be back with the opening line report starting Monday, July 25th. And then for me, that's when the season starts. We'll have preseason to talk about. We'll have regular season to talk about. So from Friday the 25th of July through the Super Bowl, you can count on us every single week together an opening line report, Drew and myself, as long as we stay healthy. That's all I got, my friend.
All right, stay healthy out there, Teddy, and everybody watching as well. Teddy, does the NFL preseason start? I'm guessing the beginning of August is right there around there. I'm guessing so.
Is I have it written somewhere, but the Hall of Fame game is Thursday, August 4th, and then the first week of the preseason will start the following weekend. That'd be Thursday the 11th, Friday the 12th, Saturday the 13th.
Bam, guys. So we'll be back a little over a month. Come back and join us here. Hopefully you enjoyed the show. A little mid-off-season report here, NFL report style, and getting you ready for the NFL season win total report. Last time, guys, 94-44, 68% last 20 years, 15-3, 83% on the 5% big tickets. Coming out this week, check it out. WagerTalk.com, Teddy Covers experts page. I am Drew Martin. He's Teddy Covers. Best of luck with your bets. Hey, we'll talk in a little over a month, guys. Thanks for tuning in.
Teddy Covers is 94-44, cashing 68% of his tickets since 2001 with his famed Teddy Covers NFL win totals report, a 20-year track record of success. In addition, Teddy is 15-3, 83% winners with his 5% big ticket plays, cashing with the Chicago Bears under last season as his 5% big ticket best bet. This package includes each NFL season over-under bet with the type of detailed analysis you expect from Teddy, primed to pay dividends all season long. Get on board for the low price of $199, or better yet, the support is 100% free for Teddy's full season football combo or NFL seasonal subscribers. Documented over 55% over the last 7 full seasons, counting every play, every day. Get on board with this proven profit producer and cash in.